Well, we are at the stage we're mounting our seat. Got the dash bar in. I welded the brake booster tab, it's like a brake assembly, so it's a whole mount that connects to the brake booster, goes through the firewall and all that stuff. That's done. And now we have our steering wheel, which we are going to make sure is in the right position once the seat is in. So I'm gonna pop this out real quick just so you can see what we're doing. So the seat's sitting a little high. It's sitting on these factory tabs, factory mounts rather. So I'm gonna cut these out. And what we're gonna do is replace that with a piece of, I believe I have 1 inch by 2 inch bar stock, rectangle rather. And we're going to go there, and then I think I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut this whole section out as well. I'm not quite sure because the rake actually kind of works out, so I might get away with leaving this, but we're going to see how that pans out. So these got to go for sure. So, you know, I actually might drill the spot welds on this. That might just be a little bit easier and a little cleaner. And this one I'll definitely have to cut. So we'll do that. And we're gonna get the seat installed. Well guys, we're entering the not so glamorous world of sound deadening removal. I forgot my shop vac at my house, so it should be cleaner in this. But I'm just gonna show you how I do it. It's very simple. If you're building any kind of race car stuff, I've heard dry ice works and you freeze it and essentially chips off. But what I do is I just use a little map gas, and I'm gonna show you how quick and easy it comes off. It is a little stinky, so we get the fan going here. But I just wanna show you how quick it is. It's really not that big of a project. So what I do is just preheat it. You know, some people make a big project out of this and they try to grind it off and all this craziness. It's really not a big deal. All right, so that's all. You heat it for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. And this stuff, it just comes right off. It's super easy. Don't make it a big production. But that's it, guys. Very, very easy. If you don't get it, you gotta get it just the right temperature, and it's good. You don't wanna start cooking it because it gets smoky and it's really stinky stuff. And just be careful, because once you, I mean, it is pretty much tar. So don't go grabbing this with your bare hands afterwards, because it can be like hot lava. So don't do that. But that's it. As you can see now, I cut out my cross members here, and we're getting ready to weld in our seat rails and get this seat installed. Now, I'm very excited for this because this is a big deal today, getting this seat in here. I am going to head over to Automotive Swap Meet. So like 2 streets over, see if they got anything cool. I need a radiator, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for a radiator I can mount in the rear. It can be a huge one, actually the bigger the better. So that's what we gotta look for. And who else knows? Maybe there's some other stuff over there, but I'm gonna take a long lunch break, swing over there and see what they got. But until then, we're gonna keep getting the sound deadening out. And that's really it on this car. There's not too much sound deadening. I removed all the foam stuff from under here. So I think there's some on the floor plates too. But yeah, we'll get the sound deadening out and save, you save a lot of weight with this stuff. It is heavy. I mean, you know, this pile here doesn't look like much, but this is probably like 2 pounds. So with all the sound deadening removed, you can probably save about 10 pounds total. And that means I don't have to lose 10 pounds, so that's good. Okay guys, check this out. So what I did was I got this all cleaned up, and I got the spot welds drilled out because there were little seat frame or seat mounts here before. And what I do is I am making base plates out of 1/8 inch just hot rolled flat stock. So in this case, I try to do at least or right around a 4 inch by 4 inch square on the mounting plates. It gives you a lot of surface area. And on a car like this, and really on any car, I try to make the mounts on multiple surfaces. So the floor of this car, you can actually watch, I'll give it a kick. See if I can do it without hitting my shin. See that? See how I just popped that floor up just by tapping it with my toe? So the floor doesn't have really, look at this. You know, it's like an oil can effect right now. So the floor doesn't really have much structural integrity. However, once you get into these areas here where it's stepped up, this behind here is a frame channel essentially. And up here obviously is our sill. So this is very structural, this not so much. So what I do is I try to take advantage of both the horizontal and the vertical aspects of this. So in this case, this is the template I made for this. This is going to be out of 1/8 inch steel, and it's going to sit just like that. And we'll weld that down, and then that will be our 1/8 inch base plate on that side. This side, this is my template for here. So as you can see, it takes advantage of the vertical aspect of the chassis here and the horizontal. And then on this one, I actually kick it up a little vertical again. So this is the actual shape that it will be in the end. Now another trick, and what I'm going to do, I mean, this plasma cutters, I can't believe I haven't had this tool. So what I did is I just traced this out onto some hot roll, and then that happened to be pretty much approximately the size of this grinding wheel. And now what I'm going to do is take the plasma cutter, and I'm just going to trace this right along there. So I'm just going to trace out this radius here, so I have a nice smooth radius, and that will give me this out of steel, which I'll show you in about 2 seconds. But as you'll see, it's going to be much easier to do that with the plasma than it would be to do any other way. Before, I'd probably have to just shear it a bunch, right? And then take an angle grinder or something with a grinding wheel and kind of make that smooth radius. This is going to take about 15 seconds with the plasma. And let's see that right now. All right, we're going to cut this sucker in real time. My tip's a little bit worn out, but that'll be all right. All right, I goofed a little bit right in the initial pierce. I actually went up and over the my little makeshift template, and obviously freehanding it, I'm gonna have a little slag. This just chips right off, but not so bad with a blown out tip, but it's just as easy as that. That's our, these are our two shapes there. We'll just bend them right up and it'll be good to go. Okay guys, sorry about the noise. I got fans and air going. So this is my first bracket. I wanted to show you that. No big deal. That fits right in like there. This is gonna be my cross member that my seat bolts to. And this side is a little radius. So what we're gonna do is, I marked it here. We're gonna make a couple small bends to kind of kick it up. And I'm gonna do that right now with you guys so you can see how we're doing that here. So I'm just kind of doing it by feel right now. Wow, I got lucky. That looks like pretty much a 90, which is what we're gonna achieve. But you see that? That gives us kind of a nice curved bend. Not too shabby. So this radius actually has to come down a little bit. I'll probably recut that radius. But that's gonna be pretty good. Well, we're at the point of my least favorite part of car builds, and that's installing seats. I don't really know why. It's probably because they always take way more time than they should take. And I'm not sure if it's just me, but it just drives me nuts because they're actually really involved to get all the seats mounted, the positions correct, and also mounting the belts and all that stuff. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just super time consuming. So let's pull this out of here. And this is what we got going on. Everything's just tacked in place. So what I did here is I just welded these tabs with a M8 nut welded on the back side. You can see this one is unwelded. And I plated the side of the car. So this is just 1/8 plate. We weld it to the chassis. We have our, this is 1 3/4 by, I think it's 1 inch. Yeah, 1 3/4 by 1 inch. And that's our cross member. And we essentially just weld it all into the car. So this seat is done, or this seat mount's done and ready to be welded in. And the other seat mount, I just created 2 sets of brackets and tabs and everything. And that's just a carbon copy on the other side. Now in this car, I'm running a 16-inch seat. So this is 16-inch wide here to here. And on the passenger side, I'm running a 17-inch seat. The 16 fits me really nice and snug, but there are people that are a little bigger that I would like to be able to have in the car with me. So I just go with a little bit wider seat. There's really not gonna be much of a difference except for the fact that, well, it's 1 inch wider. So the seat will sit offset a little bit more on the other side, but more or less will be, visually, you won't really be able to tell looking at it. So I'm gonna weld these in the car right now. I'm gonna get the plates welded to the chassis, and then I am going to get my steering wheel mounted, and then I will do the other side. And that should really tidy up this driver's and passenger seating area. I will install the harness bars after the seats are fully finalized and all that stuff. And we're going to just keep moving forward on this. So I'm going to do this now. Hopefully we'll get this done by the end of the day today and have some good progress. All right, guys, check this out. This is what I have for a solution to my steering column mount. It is just a very simple piece of 1.5 inch DOM tubing. And it's going to go just like that. Very easy. Now what I did here is we have a little angle finder. So what I did with this angle finder, because I need to level that steering column so it's straight, so all my controls and everything are even, I went to the car here and you zero it out. So I just zeroed it. So now it's saying that this part of the car, which is a straight part on this chassis, more or less, I mean, you know, there's going to be variances, but I'm using this as a reference point for the entire car pretty much as a level area. I leveled it out to 0 degrees. So now what I'm going to do, I'll tack this in here, and then we simply, let me see here. Well, there goes that. But we'll simply rotate this to get our 0, tack the column on, and then our column will be perfectly level. And you can see here, this is really the issue. I mean, you can eyeball it, it's gonna be close, but with this little tool here, it's so easy, there's no point in not using it, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where we're not trying to be perfectionists, but geez, I mean, it sure beats eyeballing things, and it takes 2 seconds to do. So I just want to show you guys that. This is the angle cube, and this thing is totally an awesome tool if you don't have it. I think this one was $37. It charges on a USB cable, and it's rad. I mean, it does everything you want it to. Super easy to use. It's cheap. If you're doing any kind of fabrication or any kind of angle work, buy one of these. I mean, it's awesome. It's all magnetic, and you know, everything's legit. It's just, you know, shameless plug, but buy one of these. I didn't have one of these for the longest time, and I just picked this up, I don't know, probably a month or two ago. Again, it's the same as the plasma cutter. It's one of these tools that I can't believe I didn't own this for years now. So just trust me on this one. 37 bucks, well worth it. You guys will love it. Well guys, check it out. We got our seat mounts finished. This whole area, I have a cool idea how to tie in the rear shock towers. I was gonna leave them, but I am a little bit concerned that these might be a weak point. So let me show you that right now. I wanna show you what I had for an idea on fixing those. Not really fixing them, but I guess reinforcing those. So I think you'll like it. I think it'll work out really well. So my idea is take some, that's not really gonna stay. Look at the idea. So you take a piece of 1.25 inches, and I'll have it bent. Let's see if I can get that to stay. So I'll have it bent here, you know, obviously picture that centered here, and then put a plate here, kind of like I did in the smart car. And then this tube will come down, we'll wrap around, down, reinforce the stock cross member, which is a weak point on these cars anyways, back up, loop back around, and connect to there. And then I can tie in, you know, this here with, I was thinking like a dimple die thing, just because it's going to be cool, you know, it'd be aesthetically cool looking to have that there, and just instead of a couple tubes. So that's what I'm thinking there. So I just want to share that with you. But I got my harness bars installed, and I am going to put the seats in right now. So here's how the car is looking on the ground.